Wake up to reality. Nothing ever goes as planned in this accursed world. The longer you live, the more you will realize that the only things that truly exist in this reality are merely pain, suffering, and futility.
Naruto! 目を覚まして! これは夢よ!
Hi everyone, how have you been? As they say in the corporate emails, I hope that life, as in my video, finds you all well. No, really, I mean it, even if it sounds cheesy. What is the topic of today's video? Well, as you already know through the title of the video, the long-awaited Infinite Tsukuyomi Theory. As you guys remember, I asked you months ago, both on my Instagram and my Twitter, to vote for your favorite piece of content from the ones that I had in plan. So, since the Naruto one has been already done and you can watch it on my channel, let's move to this long-awaited video, which I initially named differently, but decided on the name change in the meantime.
And what name is that, noble lake creature?
Boruto is a dream? You'll probably say by now that, duh, chat, we know that already. Tell us something new. Plus, other people have already done it by now. What do you bring to the table? Well, my darlings, it is my honest belief that none of you will expect what I'm about to tell you. So, I told you that Boruto is a dream, right? But the question remains, whose dream is it?
I don't know.
Well, my darlings, I bet you didn't expect this answer. I'ma just let the introduction music speak for itself before naming it. Yep, you've guessed it by now. Boruto is Orochimaru's Infinite Tsukuyomi.
What?
What?
Shock? Oh my, I so get you. After all, shock has been the keyword in terms of Naruto's ending. But more about that and about how Boruto could be Orochimaru's dream on the road to argumentation. Wink wink. Seeing how senseless the ending was from a mechanical, thematical, and plot development point of view, and the way the whole marketing around the last was done along with the incredible changes that occurred afterwards, made me believe that chapter 700 was an Infinite Tsukuyomi and that the last might be quote-unquote the real deal. Of course, that theory was a hit and miss. Or was it? That's the question I asked myself after I came back to the Naruto fandom in 2020. I started catching up with some things out of curiosity, and in my mind there were some points that instantly clicked, but I said, I don't know, I don't think it's enough to think of it in this context. I may be reaching, I may be not. So, having these doubts for a while, I just dropped the idea. But then, as I joined the Twitter community and I saw just how bad and senseless the Boruto universe is, that nagging thought that I had initially kept on growing. I kept asking myself, dude, why is this not making sense at all power-wise, plot-wise, mechanics-wise, which are kind of non-existent in this universe, but who cares as long as it looks cool and it's flashing before your eyes, right? Anyway, as I saw that, other amounting evidence kept on appearing, and thus here I am today. So then I took a walk down memory lane, reread my theory and put it in the context of today's time and asked myself, what if I wasn't wrong about the reality being an Infinite Tsukuyomi dream? I was just wrong about the direction of it, or better said, product. What if the last wasn't really the target, but Boruto is? So, starting on that particular train of thought, here I am today with my most recent theory. Disclaimer, like I've always said, this is a theory. I'm presuming you all know the meaning of the word theories.
I don't.
So I won't go into too much detail about that. It doesn't guarantee anything, but for me it's a fun activity, especially nowadays. Let's say that in the past I had quote-unquote something to lose. Nowadays, well, to quote the master himself,
frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
I don't care about it anymore. So, with that being said, let's move on the actual theory itself. So really, what if the Boruto universe is truly an infinite Tsukuyomi dream that started when Madara activated it in OG? What then? Sorry, but I gotta pause for a bit here and take a little internal giggle, cause for some reason the Bad Boys soundtrack came into my mind.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come?
Anyway, back to business. So, the hypothesis. Boruto is a dream, or tomorrow's one to be more exact. But is there anything that could point to that? Are there any unexplained phenomena that occur that might support this hypothesis? Well, let's take things in turns first.
And all points with all aboard!
Like I said in my initial theory, all roads lead to, well, you. Oh wait, I'm not talking about Naruto 2019 edition here. Let me do that again. So, like I was meaning to say, all roads lead to Road to Ninja. There are two important elements more than any other elements that do serve as a possible basis for this whole thing. Let's see which those are.
Got it! No shock for me!
Oh yeah?
As I mentioned in my initial theory, what Road to Ninja had in common with the Naruto ending was that they both advertised the fact that we're dealing with a shocking turn of events, as Road to Ninja is advertised as the new shocking movie, while the end of Naruto manga is advertised as a shocking end. What a curious choice of words to advertise both these pieces of content, don't you think? Another important detail that we've been asked explicitly to take notice of, which represented the basis of Road to Ninja's plot, was the fact that the protagonists Naruto and Sakura are sent into a mirror world where everyone is acting differently than their initial selves. As an honorable mention that I wasn't decided if I should use as a point, but said, let's just at least mention it. It's how on the chapter cover of Road to Ninja they precisely asked us to, and I quote, read the manga, watch the movie and find the connections. And they did the same thing with the last advertising too, when people are sent to go and read the manga to understand everything. And I wondered, was that supposed to be because we're meant to see how screwed up the bonds are? Another word for connections, by the way, are in the last/Boruto universe? Because if we think about it, everyone acts out of their character. Just like in the mirror world from Road to Ninja, which, as we know, was a limited infinite Tsukuyomi. But this might not be enough for you. You'll say, duh, chat, tell me something new already. We all know about the mirror world, yada yada. Do you have any actual supporting evidence than these two elements? To which I'll say, to your surprise or not, yes, I actually do. Allow me to spill that tea. What, you thought that I don't have anything to support my hypothesis? Oh, darlings, you know how I like to bring my receipts. Therefore, let's start with the first one. One of the first things I've observed coming back into the fandom and getting to see things around my Twitter was what I call a crucial element. As previously mentioned, although trying to give chances to Boruto anime before leaving the fandom, I dropped it being too boring and uncreative for me, so I didn't even pay too much attention to all the details. But when I came back and got in contact with the Twitter fandom, lo and behold what my eyes see! In Boruto manga as well as the anime, one of the first things we notice is how Team 7 picture is, well, mirrored. I looked at it and said, wait, this isn't right though? The picture is supposed to be the other way around, as in Naruto looking towards Sasuke, not away from him? How do you get wrong one of the most crucial and representative elements of the story? Unless, you know, it's with a purpose. But this is not the only one, so let's move further.
Show me.
Knock yourself out.
I think I speak for, well, almost everyone, minus the ones who deny this reality, of course. That's clear from miles away, even from Cosmos, I would say. But alas, let's get back to business, as I was saying. I think I speak for everyone when I say that it couldn't be clearer than daylight that they're pushing the Hinata-Kushina parallel through the way they portray Hinata in the Boruto anime as a mom, and some scenes from a certain particular ending. I mean, really? Since when? We all know her true parallel is Sakura. Kishi himself confirmed it. What's the purpose of such an turn of personalities? Why take core characteristics from one character and give it to the other? Just for the lulz of it? Which I'm not denying, it can be done. It's Pierrot we're talking about here, and their logo is none other than a clown. But you see, this choice seemed once again so intentional on their part, since once again it's a crucial element that they change. I wonder why. Could it have something to do with... We get it, Chad, move to the next point. Okay. From plain brown to blue? Do you guys want to tell me that none of you saw this one? And none of you found it weird? That's like day and night change, yin and yang, up and down, like, you know, a certain world in the... Okay, I'll move to the next point by myself. No need to remind me.
Dio no Sando! The world!
Remember how in canon, at some point when Madara keeps Obito to heal in the cave, he presents to him how the genjutsu world works? You could say it's almost like a staged world with Kaguya at its center. And what's also curious is how Obito actually thinks that Madara is a Shinigami when he first meets him. He could have chosen any other representation for Madara, yet he chose the Shinigami one. You know, the same one as the Shinigami of the Dead Reaper seal, who looks exactly like the Kaguya that appears at the end, and the one that, may I remind you, once again was at the center of Madara's genjutsu world. How convenient, don't you think? When Hagoromo entered the story, I don't know why, but to me, certain things didn't match. In my point of view, it was through some of his teachings. He spoke more of attachment, although he's supposed to be this enlightened being with roots in Buddhism. Well, if you've researched anything of the sorts, you'll know that Buddhism preaches non-attachment. It's actually something that is presented in Avatar, The Last Airbender as well, when Aang trains, and the reason he has trouble with his whole training is because of his attachment to his friends, especially his love for Katara. So he must learn to detach in order to get into the avatar state. Another interesting detail, if you ask me, is how Obito or Madara are actually the ones who bring us forth the whole story of Kaguya and her sons. And here I'll have to give credits to Orange Cherry from Tumblr because she explained it a lot better than I initially thought about it. I mean, I saw some dots here and there but couldn't quite connect them properly. But at some point though, I can't remember when, at this very moment, I came across her post and I had an aha moment. To quote her, almost all of the foreshadowing regarding the saga of Six Paths, his sons, and Kaguya were all done by either the masked man, Obito as Madara, or Madara himself. Everybody believed the saga to be a myth and the Rinnegan to be just a mutation except for Madara and Obito. But when the saga popped up in the story, no one seemed that shocked or surprised, as if it's totally normal for a guy from mythical stories to just come back from the afterlife and start talking about his sons and mother. Even the final fight between Naruto and Sasuke was foreshadowed and promised by the masked man. He told them he would set a more proper stage for it when they met after the Kage Summit, and also he said to Naruto when he talked to him about Sasuke that it was the Uchiha and Senju destiny to fight just as the sons of the Sage once did. So he even foreshadowed the brothers' feud. It's quite curious though, because in a story that had only one saga at first and preached destiny isn't a thing, here we have a U-turn and oh well, what do you know, we actually do have destiny interfering. So curious, almost as if it's a staged play in a staged world. You know how they say they give you the problem to bring you the solution themselves? It kinda looks the same here. Madara staged the world, Obito staged the play, aka the destined fight. Black Zetsu is the storyteller, but can we really trust what the storyteller is saying at the end of the day? He has been shown to be deceitful, and who's to say he was really telling the truth? Who's to say that he wasn't indeed Madara's will, with Madara staging his own death and make it look like they won? Remember how at the center of the genjutsu world we had Kaguya? Another detail that just popped into my eyes is how adult Naruto is basically drawn like adult Obito. And you'll say, well, chat, duh, of course he's drawn like that. He is, after all, Obito's parallel, we all saw that. And if I look at things surface level, it seems to be that way. But then, if I go and do a little bit of deep dive, some things just don't click. In this new world of Boruto, Naruto seems indeed happy. Surface level. He quote-unquote broke the destiny. He finally became Hokage, has a family, is a father, and all that. He should be a happy man by all means, right? Yet the original author Kishimoto presents him as anything but such, if you look more in depth. His job doesn't bring him fulfillment. His bonds don't have the same quality anymore. He remembers Team 7 when Boruto brings him the bento. He's actively avoiding going home to his family, has family issues, since Shikamaru does point to that one in one of the chapters, and more so, he even seems to have some sort of drinking problem.
I haven't slept in days. Last chance. Oh yeah.
It's as if he's truly living in a reality that's nothing but hell for him. This reminds me a bit of the premise of Road to Ninja again. Surface level, it was all fine and dandy. He got what he wished. However, deep down, inside, it wasn't really real. It was all a lie. All this looks like a fake destiny that's been broken, not the real one, if you know what I mean. Another thing that got me thinking is the whole fake Zetsu Neji clone situation. We all know how that went in canon, so I won't go explaining it once again, but it got me thinking, what if the Zetsu Neji clone thing was, well, more than a clone plot point? What if it was some sort of foreshadowing? I mean, we all agree on the fact that Neji's death was one of the stupidest decisions, considering the fact that the whole Destiny theme was implemented through his character. How was it that out of all the Hyuga clan members that could have died, Hinata's father, we get Neji dying, fulfilling his destiny as a Hyuga branch member? And please, don't give me that crap that he wasn't treated as a lower branch member because they fought alongside each other. That's basically his job as a Hyuga clan branch member. Be alongside their masters so they can protect them with their lives. That's quite a bad implementation of the idea there, unless it's meant to be something else. This got me thinking about the point I made earlier about the fake destiny, because if we go by the breaking the destiny theme, in this case, the real destiny break would have been a Neji actually changing the Hyuga system, not dying for them, so his choice of how to die is a fake free choice that's presented to us if you think more deeply about this aspect, especially in the context of how Neji would have looked like if he were a live picture they released when the last ended. Why use that in the context of a what-if scenario, which is precisely what the Infinite Tsukuyomi is about?
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Another thing that had me to raise my eyebrow for a little while there was the emphasis that was put in the final chapter on Naruto and Sasuke's, and I quote, a real fight. What real fight? And not only that, but another choice of words at the end, which is also highly similar to the ones we have used at the end of Road to Ninja, is the endure one, the same one Naruto makes reference to at the end of the Road to Ninja movie. This once again is an aspect that has a lot of emphasis put on it in the end chapter, bolded, the same way the real fight one has. Like, doesn't that seem quite intentional to you? It sure as hell does to me. Anyway, this is where I end with the supporting evidence of my hypothesis that Boruto might be a dream. Now, as I've told you, that dream, in my opinion, is Orochimaru's. How can that be, you wonder? Well, for you to find out, you'll have to have a little bit more patience, because that part is coming up next. It's already a long video as it is, and I'm sure you wouldn't have had the patience to go through all of it at once. So for that, I'm asking for some extra patience until the second part comes. But buckle up, my friends, this is where the fire begins. Until then, if you've liked my videos and you'd like to support the channel and content I make, don't forget to take all these actions that support a creator out, such as like, subscribe, hit the notification button, but especially engage with the video down below. I and my editor Starwriter would really appreciate and thank you for that. Like always, until the next time, I thank you for giving me this time of your life to watch my video. See ya on the next one!